Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the 23rd of April to talk about tonight's Smackdown Live. Tonight's Smackdown Live came to us from Lincoln, Nebraska. I thought it was a pretty decent show. Different things, all came together. We got some feuds and some matches announced for Money in the Bank, which is taking place on... I have this written down. Maybe I don't have this written down. When is Money in the Bank? Maybe I don't have it written down. While I figure that out, let's see who is with us in the live chat. We've got Oscar Strange Rodriguez, Luke Might, Y Soap. We've also got Kristen McNutt. Kristen, I'm not talking about that. That is too much of a personal story, a personal issue of that person and their family. I don't know the whole story, so it would be wrong of me to speak about it not knowing what exactly happened. So I'm just going to pass it. Thank you, Vimin Cook. He says that it is on May 18th, and that is correct. As you said it in the chat, I found it in my notes. Luke Mike Nick is on the Wednesday shows. Nick will be back tomorrow night. So with that, we learned of 2 official and 1 most likely going to happen matches. So as we let a couple more of you slide into the live chat, it is Sunday, May 19th. That's what it is. 19th. For Money in the Bank from the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut. So, SmackDown Live kicks off with Shane McMahon, and he comes down. He forces Greg Hamilton to do his best in the world announcement when he comes down to the ring. He noted that he wasn't in a good mood tonight. Shane, that is. He said he's not out here to talk about himself. He's out here to talk about Roman Reigns. He showed footage from last week of Roman's hitting his father, Vince McMahon, with a Superman punch. Shane said the footage made him sick to his stomach. So, going forward, Shane called the footage horrific. He wondered what kind of man puts his hands on another man's father. Ironic, isn't it? Ironic when he put his hands on the Miz's father. You hypocrite. He called Vince a national treasure and said that it was like disgracing the American flag. He was upset with Reigns and how he hit his father and promised consequences were coming for Roman. He wondered if he should be fined, suspended, or even fired. McMahon said they're going to do things a little different. They're going to settle this in the ring, and he ordered Roman Reigns to come down. Fans gave Reigns a very positive reaction and even chanted Roman, Roman, Roman as he came down. Roman went to speak, but threw the mic down instead. McMahon then threw his mic down, looking like Shane was ready to throw some hands. This then led to Elias running out. Roman was distracted by Shane. Once he realized Elias was there, he was then distracted by Elias. This then allowed McMahon to jump Reigns from behind and attack him in the corner. Reigns fought back, but Elias jumped in. Fans broke out into another Roman chant. Roman briefly fought back, but the heels took over. Elias hit a drift away on Roman Reigns. We then go to the back, where we see Shane and Elias discussing their attacks on Roman. McMahon bragged about hitting Reigns and said his father would be proud. We then got Kayla Braxton in the back, interviewing Kofi Kingston. He talked about winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Xavier Woods and Big O would then show up. Kevin Owens was certain that Kingston was going to beat Shinsuke Nakamura tonight because New Day Rocks. Going forward, we then had an non-title match, my bad. Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor taking on Andrade. Before the match, Zelina Vega noted that Balor tried to run away from Andrade in the Superstar Shakeup coming to SmackDown. Andrade promised to fulfill his legacy and end the myth of Finn Balor. So they really didn't explain why Zelina Vega and Andrade were back on SmackDown other than they're coming for Finn. So Balor had the early advantage. He tried to pull Andrade into the corner, but Vega grabbed Andrade. This caused a distraction, and Andrade took over. He hit a dive to the floor, wiping out Finn Balor. Andrade was firmly in control and slowed down the pace here. He attempted a powerbomb, but Balor reversed it into a nice-looking DDT. He followed up with a double foot stomp. Not the coup de grace double foot stomp, though. He climbed to the top, but Andrade cut him off. Andrade hit a Hurricane Rana, but Balor rolled through it and scored a near fall. He then sent Andrade to the floor and followed it up with a nice dive of his own. Balor then attempted the sling blade, but Andrade countered with a back elbow. He hit a running double knee into the corner. Near fall here. Andrade then attempted a hammerlock DDT, but Balor countered it. Balor then would... Zelina Vega attempted a crossbody on Balor, but he moved out of the way and she hit Andrade instead. This then allowed Finn to hit a running drop kick on Andrade, hit the coup de grace, and pin him. So now it's 1-1. Andrade beat Finn last week on Raw. Finn beat Andrade this week on SmackDown. So where do you go? Where do you go indeed? In the back, Elias was about to sing a song. He was saying about Roman and challenged him to a match at Money in the Bank. Shane jumped in and praised the song. He said, "I like your challenge. Roman would never accept a challenge from you." They jumped in a limo and drove off. Next up, we got Kairi Sane with both Paige and Asuka against Peyton Royce with Billie Kay. So earlier today, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose confronted Paige. They mocked her for forming her new team of Asuka and Kairi Sane. They told her that they're not going to reform Absolution when her new team blows up in her face. So Kairi Sane comes out, does her little entrance, and then the women's tag team champions come down, and they keep calling Kairi Sane Carrie Sane. And then, Billy kept saying Carrie, and then, I think it was, excuse me, Peyton goes, "I think you're saying it wrong." It's, and she says because I can't remember exactly what it was. Billy kept saying Carrie, and Peyton said Kari, or she said it wrong either way. She said it wrong again, and they were making fun of her. She said, "The reason I lost last week was because I wasn't ready. I was blindsided. I didn't know I was going to compete. Plus, I was dehydrated. But this week, I'm going to be in control, and I'm hydrated because I drank a gallon of water." And Corey Graves goes, "She also had her electrolytes." So the match gets off, and Sane's firmly in control. Basically just dominated the entire match. She nailed Royce with a spear, hit the insane elbow, pinned her 1, 2, 3. After the match, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose walked out on the stage. The fans kind of applauded. It was weird. Didn't say anything, and then Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers appeared. Tom Phillips then announced Superstar Shakeup actually isn't over, and that the former WWE Champion and his cronies, the Singh brothers, are back on SmackDown. In the back, Aleister Black noted that the fans know who he is. He also said he couldn't explain the complex tragedy of his character, but everyone will fade to black. We then were supposed to get Chad Gable versus Jinder Mahal. As Chad Gable was coming down for his entrance, he was jumped from behind by Lars Sullivan. Lars beat him up. Lars then jumped into the ring. Jinder said, "I ain't having any of this," and ran out before Lars took out the Singh brothers. This would then bring out R-Truth. Remember, last week R-Truth was attacked by Lars Sullivan. So R-Truth tried to fight Lars, but Lars quickly fought back and gave Truth the huge running sit-out powerbomb that looks just amazing. He does this running sit-out powerbomb so well. It is perfect for him. It looks brutal. It looks devastating. It looks like he just killed this person every time he hits it. So in the back, or in the locker room, and Kayla Braxton is interviewing Roman Reigns. She asked about Elias's challenge from earlier. Roman promised that he's going to take the challenge of Money in the Bank, and he's going to break Elias's jaw. So this confirms, 99% confirms, because you could still pull double duty as we know Becky is. But this 99% confirms that Roman nor Elias will be in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So next up, we were supposed to get a face-to-face between Charlotte Flair.
I don't know that.
Alexa, stop. That Amazon Echo always running in. So we got a face-to-face between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Charlotte made her way down to the ring. As she got in the ring, she talked about the main event of WrestleMania 35. She pointed out that Becky Lynch pinned Ronda, not her. Flair said she did not get pinned, nor did she submit. She noted that Lynch did not beat her for her SmackDown Live Women's Championship, and she demanded that Lynch come to the ring. Becky came out and admitted that, no, I didn't beat you because I was too busy beating Ronda. She wanted to prove that she could beat Rousey because she already knew she can beat Flair. Flair said it was an unjust, and Lynch should not have the championship. She believes that she's now gotten in Becky's head, though. Lynch pointed out that she's beaten Flair and is the one in her head. Flair believes that Lynch is scared. Flair said she's next in line and wants to face Lynch after Lacey Evans faces her at Money in the Bank. Lynch said, shut up. She says that she wants to make it clear. She said she wants to clear the way for people like Bayley, Mickie James, and Ember Moon on SmackDown. That Charlotte shouldn't just be getting another title match. And then Bayley would actually come out. Bayley thanked Lynch for the shout out and noted that Lynch has never beaten her. Flair told Bayley to get in the back of the line because this is her show, the Queen's show. Bayley then challenged Charlotte to a match where she said, if I win, I get the title match against Becky. If you win, you get the title match. Bayley got right in Charlotte's face, and the match was made official. So Flair had the early advantage in this match against Bayley, but Bayley did take over quite quickly. Bayley hit a crossbody for a 1 count. Flair used a neck breaker to regain control. Bayley rolled up Flair for, I think, a 2. She then used another crossbody for another 2. Flair fought back and attacked Bayley's leg. Bayley fought back and rocked Flair with a nice knee. She followed up the clothesline for a near fall. Bayley then avoided a big boot, but Flair nailed her with a second one for a 2. Flair, now, I don't know what happened here, but Flair attempted a moonsault. Bayley did the, I'm going to roll out of the way, and Charlotte was supposed to land right on her feet. But she landed awkwardly, and for the rest of the match, it really looked like she was avoiding at all costs, putting as much weight as possible on her right leg. So I don't know if she landed weird, twisted her knee, messed up her, I don't know what happened here, but it didn't look that good. And they played into it, so I don't know if this was what was supposed to happen, or if they realized, hey, she kind of hurt her leg. Let's play into it. Bayley then hit a sunset flip. This looked really cool. Bayley hit a sunset flip onto Charlotte. Well, the way she does it is I think she did this last week too. It's a sunset flip into the corner where when she hits the sunset flip, she doesn't roll up her opponent. She power bombs her opponent into the turnbuckle. I think this looked really good, and the more Bayley does it, the more she's going to perfect how to make it look even better. Excuse me. She then climbed to the top rope, but Flair pushed her off. Flair then went for a figure 4, but Bayley used an inside cradle for a 2. Flair then recovered, hit a spear, pinned Bayley, and she became the new number 1 contender for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And as we learned later, this match will be taking place at Money in the Bank because Becky did state right after the match, after she was being interviewed by Kayla, she said, I knew by winning both titles, sometimes I'd have to pull double duty. And I'm going to do that at Money in the Bank. So not only is Becky defending the Raw Women's Championship against Lacey Evans at Money in the Bank, she will also be defending the SmackDown Live Championship against Charlotte at Money in the Bank. We then got the Bray Wyatt segment from last night, the Firefly Funhouse. It was interesting the way they did it tonight, though. It was the same video, but they kept cutting to the crowd, and the crowd was just dead, completely silent. Going forward, we then got WWE Champion Kofi Kingston with Xavier Woods and Kevin Owens going up against Shinsuke Nakamura with Rusev and Lana. And how good did Rusev look in a suit? Rusev looked sharp, dapper, and all kinds of slick. So Big O and Xavier were on commentary, and I wish we can hear more of this commentary, because I think this could be funny stuff, like when it's any members of the New Day or whoever. I wish we got more than just a couple seconds here and there. Tom Phillips pushed that this is Kingston's first singles match on SmackDown since winning the WWE Championship. Nakamura had the early advantage with a side head kick. Kingston fought back with a series of drop kicks. Nakamura regained control and slowed down the pace. Kingston then hit an inverted frog splash type move off the ropes for a near fall. He then hit a huge splash from the top for another 2 count. Kingston attempted a suicide dive, but Nakamura rocked him with a kick. Nakamura sent Kingston into the steps. But Kofi leaped over them instead. Kingston jumped off the steps, but Nakamura nailed him with a kick. He then hit a knee on the floor. Nakamura hit a sliding German suplex. This was nice. He ran at him, slid between his legs, popped back up, boom, German. This was a setup for a Kinshasa, but Kingston ended up hitting a double stomp. Kingston went for the Trouble in Paradise, but Nakamura ducked. Kingston hit an SOS, and Rusev jumped in for the disqualification. Woods and Owens then made the save for Kofi. Owens would then backdrop Woods onto Rusev onto the floor. Remember that. He used Woods as like a weapon or a double team maneuver kind of thing here. But that plays into what happens here in a second. Nakamura then hit a Kinshasa on Woods. Owens was in the ring, checking on Kingston, when Nakamura tried to attack. Kingston shoved Owens out of the way and hit a Trouble in Paradise on Shinsuke. Suddenly, as Kofi got back to his feet, Owens turns and hits him with a great super kick. Rips off the New Day shirt and starts just beating up Kofi. He threw Kofi into the barricade. He threw him then back in the ring. Owens then grabbed the belt and held it high above his head, motioning that he wants to challenge Kofi. I knew this was going to happen. I wish it wouldn't have happened so soon. I know they were probably got to build to a match at Money in the Bank, but maybe this could have been the Saudi Arabia match. You could have had Kofi defend against anybody at Money in the Bank as just a whatever match. You have Big O or Kevin Owens, whatever you want to call him, in Kofi's corner for the challenge, and all kinds of happy that Kofi kept the title, that he's successful at Money in the Bank, and then they build this up as the Saudi Arabia match, or they build this up for Extreme Rules. I think this was just way too quick. I guess Kofi's gonna lose the title. I really think that Kofi can lose this title at Money in the Bank to Kevin Owens. So after he beat down Kofi Kingston in the ring, Owens attempted a powerbomb on the apron, but Woods made the save. Owens then beat down Woods and gave him a powerbomb on the apron for his trouble. Kingston and the referees checked on Woods as Owens walked away, and that was SmackDown Live. I thought SmackDown was a really solid show. I thought everything done on the show was done in the right way as far as building up to Money in the Bank. I didn't think anything done tonight was really just filler, to be honest. I thought everything tonight was done for a reason, and I liked that. So now with that, if you guys want to give your thoughts on tonight's SmackDown Live, you can do so by calling 559-475-8473. Also, if you want to text in your questions or your concerns or your comments, you can do so to 510-906-1341. Again, you can call 559-475-8473 and text into 510-906-1341. Amy Campbell asked about John Cena. I don't get what your question is. John Cena's a super part-timer. So if you're asking why he's not on Raw or SmackDown, that's why. Wogan Kingslayer says, I actually liked the KO heel turn. It was unexpected. Yes, but at the same time, they could have got so much out of this, so much more, if they would have waited on it, if they wouldn't have rushed it. I get it. They want this to be the Money in the Bank match, and because they're doing it so quickly, I do think that there's a good chance that Owens is walking out the new champion. 514 in the text line says, do you see Becky retaining the Raw Women's Championship or SmackDown Women's Championship, or will she lose both? What I think could really happen is, I don't know how they do this, but I could see Becky retaining both titles, and then after her second match, whichever match that is, maybe that's the Raw Women's Championship match against Lacey Evans, she gets cashed in on. And then she can get cashed in on and then say it's the Raw Women's title match, so that's the match, that's the title that gets taken from her. And then whoever cashes in on her, they're on opposite brands. I think that would be a good thing. So it's like Becky's mad that she got cashed in on, but she can't do anything about it because they're on separate brands. 985 says, thoughts on Dark Side of the Ring TV show. So if you guys are unaware, Viceland is doing documentaries about different, like, I don't know how to explain it, just different wrestling stories. There's one about the legend of, or the relationship of Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. One about the death of Brody, Bruiser Brody. There's one about the tragedy of the Von Erichs. There's one again. There's one about Gino Hernandez. There's one on the Montreal Screwjob. And I'm missing one. There's 6. What's the 6th one? I can't remember right now what the 6th one actually is. But I've seen the first 3. I've seen the Macho Man Elizabeth. I've seen the Montreal Screwjob. And I've seen the Bruiser Brody one. The Bruiser Brody one is really well done. Macho and Elizabeth is a little boring. That's right. Robert Velas says Fabulous Moolah. That's the final one, yes. So the Macho Liz one was a little boring because it was nothing new. We knew everything they talked about. The Brody one was really well done. And the one about the Montreal Screwjob, again, it wasn't boring, but if you're a fan that knows the whole story of the Montreal Screwjob and not just what played out on TV, you're not going to learn anything new. You will in the Brody one. I've heard so far, I haven't seen it, but I've been told that the Von Erichs one is the best one. They do air on Viceland on Wednesdays, but once they air, they do put them up on their website. For free, you don't have to have some TV subscription and log in or any of that, so that's pretty cool. But let's take a call. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, how's it going?
Pretty good, yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. I just want to, I just got 2 things. Do you really, first of all, do you really think Kofi is gonna lose to KO? I personally don't think so because the crowd they still enjoy Kofi being champ. They haven't forgot about him or anything. They still like him as champ.
Very true. You're not wrong there. But think about the plans that were supposed to happen going into WrestleMania. It was supposed to be Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan. The Kofi Kingston thing was the fans fell in love with the story, fell in love with Kofi. So Vince is like, we'll give you your happy moment. So now I think what could happen is Vince is now reverting back to what he originally wanted to happen coming out of Mania, was possibly Kevin Owens walking out the champion. So it's like, okay, we gave you what you wanted. Kofi won the title. Now we can take it off of him.
I see, but after if Kofi loses, but anything can happen in WWE,
right?
Who does he feel with next? Should it be Roman Reigns?
I mean, in all honesty, Kofi can continue to feud with Kevin Owens, and then, or even how about this? He gave Woods that power bomb, so maybe they say that Woods got hurt from the powerbomb because Kevin Owens did it more devastating than he ever has. So Kofi's got to go it alone at Money in the Bank. He loses the title. Kevin Owens, for some reason, maybe beats the crap out of him, so he's now hurt. Big E makes his big triumphant return to I guess, avenge the honor of the New Day, and then he can feud with Kevin Owens over the championship, and we go from there.
I'm down with it because all three. I'm all right with it. All three members of the New Day they're all good singles wrestlers.
Oh, for sure.
And my second thing is, what's your thoughts on Becky and Charlotte again? I know it's WWE. Honestly, it's kind of repetitive.
Oh.
I would like to see Bayley. I would like to see her and Bayley. I think they could put on a good match, but it's just repetitive.
Way too overdone. The only way this will make sense is if Charlotte is winning the SmackDown title and Becky is moving solely over to Raw. If Becky retains, this should not have been Charlotte. This should have been someone like Bayley or Ember Moon that she can go in there and beat. But I do think that the reason it's Charlotte could be for Charlotte to take that title, so then Becky can then move over to Raw. They're split up, they're separated, and they can go their own ways.
My last bit. I get all that, but what would this make Charlotte a 9-time women's champion? It's like it's just like we see Charlotte. It's kind of like they always rushing, like, hurry up and putting the title on her because Vince just wants it. I feel like they just want to see her. Asuka could have been a good champion, but y'all basically wasted her time.
Oh, for sure.
But if Charlotte wins, who does she feud with? She's beaten Bayley, Carmella. I don't know, Ember Moon maybe.
Ember would be a nice one. I mean, the Bayley thing would work because it's been years since they did the Bayley Charlotte feud, and Bayley did take the title from Charlotte at one point, so Bayley could say, in big matches, I have beat you before.
You're right about that one. Well, thanks for taking the call, Tim.
Not a problem. Thanks for the call and have a great night. All right, we got another call coming in. Let's take this one. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
I have a question, Tim. Do you have any updates on Sasha? Did she get released from her contract? What's happening with her?
So I don't think she's going to get her. I don't think she's going to get her release. The last we heard is that her and WWE are basically at a stalemate. She wants her release. They don't want to give it. So many in the company do believe that she's willing to just stay home, not come to work. Pull a Neville, pull a CM Punk. But here's the thing. CM Punk waited 4 or 5 months, got his release. Neville sat home for 10, 11 months, finally got his release. There's no saying if Sasha sits home for 10 months, she's going to get her release. One thing people are overlooking is Sasha Banks last May 2018, did sign a new contract with the WWE. We don't know if it's a 2 or a 5 year deal because that's what or a 3 or 5, because that's what they've been signing people to, 3 or 5 year deals. So right now, if say Sasha wants to sit home, she could sit home for 2 more years, 4 more years. But the one thing she's got to be weary about is if WWE really doesn't want to give her her release, she sits home for a year, that's an extra year they can tack onto her contract because she didn't come to work.
Can WWE? I have a question. Can WWE is any like a sports organization like WWE? Could they actually do that? Like, if a player just sits
to add the time to their contracts?
Yeah, no, like sports entertainment specifically, like UFC or WWE or TNA, can they actually add years to the contract?
They did it with Daniel. They did it with Daniel Bryan, and they did it with Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio had knee surgery. He was out for 6 months. They added 6 months to the end of his contract the last time he was with the company. Daniel Bryan sat home for almost a year, and they were like, you know what? the longer you sit home, that's the more time we're going to add to your contract. You can work it off by being the SmackDown general manager, and that's why he agreed to come back as the SmackDown general manager, because his plan was, I'll work as the general manager. If they don't clear me when my contract's up, once I finally work this damn thing off, I'll leave and I'll go wrestle somewhere else. But ultimately, we know he did get cleared by WWE, so he agreed to stay. But we have seen them add time to people's contracts in the past. So this isn't like, oh, they can do it. No, they will do it. There's a very good possibility.
And I have a question. This whole Bray Wyatt thing confuses me. Is he going to do a Mick Foley where he's going to have 3 different characters? Like, you know how Mick Foley had Cactus Jack, regular Mick Foley, and then Mankind? Do you think they're going to be doing that with Bray?
Nope. I think Bray's just going to be this new Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse Bray. I don't think this is going to be a split personality thing or a multiple personality thing. I just think this is the new Bray Wyatt we're getting. They may add Nikki Cross with him, and who knows who else they can add with him.
And do you think, honestly, the only person that could have pulled that off if they did it correctly would have been Dean Ambrose if Dean Ambrose was staying with the company?
What do you mean, this Firefly Funhouse gimmick?
No, not that gimmick. I'm talking about the whole, like, Mick Foley split personality thing where he had 3 different characters. Do you think Dean Ambrose would be the only person to pull?
Here's the thing. Foley wasn't, quote-unquote, split personalities. It was the 3 faces of Foley, but it was never, because when you think of split personalities, that's a thing where at any time you can be Mick Foley, and then you're Mick Foley, and all of a sudden you're Cactus Jack. It's with that, it was at one point he was Mankind, then at one point he played the Dude Love character. It was never like he was what's the word I'm looking for? Falling in and out of the different characters in the same promo or the same sequence in the same, segments. That would be more split personality. His was more like, I have multiple characters I'm going to play. Everybody knows that it's me because I only wear the mask as Mankind. So, it's not really a split personality thing. It's more like he had 3 gimmicks and everybody knew they were all him.
Oh, no, I didn't mean, I don't know why I said split personality. Do you think the only person that could have pulled something like that off if they had done it correctly would have been Dean Ambrose?
No, there's a lot of people that could have probably done it.
But because, honestly, it's weird. With me, when I look at Dean Ambrose, he reminded me a lot of Terry Funk and Mankind with that hardcore wrestling style. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that's who he reminded me of. He could have pulled that whole hardcore style Mick Foley with that whole Cactus Jack thing, different gimmicks all at once or something like that.
But that was something cool they did in the late 90s. It's not something you need to do today because you're no longer gimmick heavy. The characters are supposed to be in WWE, them to a degree.
Organic.
Right. And you're not supposed to be, I'm this character or I'm this character. Yeah. A lot of people now know that, Seth Rollins, that's not his real name. Dean Ambrose, that's not his real name. That's the character name he's got in WWE. But at the same time, they're not these gimmicks. They're not Dude Love, a guy that thinks he's a ladies' man from the 70s. They're not Cactus Jack, some guy that's just crazy out of his mind and likes to beat people up with weapons. That's not what WWE superstars are anymore. So I don't think, having multiple characters will work in 2019, really, unless it's like people don't know. Like, say he's Dean Ambrose, and then he's got another character where he's under a mask, under some sort of a suit where you don't know that it's him. That's the only way it would work in 2019.
And with Roman specifically, I'm not sure if you would like this because I'm not sure if this was a rumor or not, but did Tama and Tama Tonga and Tongaloa re-sign with New Japan and sign with Ring of Honor and stuff like that, or are their contracts up and can WWE sign them as soon as their contract's up and they compare him up with Roman as a stable?
I want to say thank you for the call on that one. I don't know when their contracts are up, but trust me, they ain't going to WWE. Tangaloa was already in WWE. He was Camacho. And he did not like being in WWE. He did not like his time in the company. He then went and joined his brother in New Japan, and they become one of the best tag teams in the world as the Guerrillas of Destiny. I do not see those guys coming to WWE because Tama Tonga, especially, is not going to be somebody that's going to want to be PG. He's not going to want to have to tone down his gimmick. He's already had to tone it down slightly when new management came into New Japan, but he is not going to want to work a WWE-style character. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yes, Tim.
How's it going?
Am I speaking with the man?
Yep.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Tim.
Yes. How's it going?
Good, man. Hey, this is the second night in a row. My name is JD. I want to say thank you, and I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
I have two questions.
Go for it.
All right. Asuka. What are they doing with Asuka?
You know, to be honest, I think her and Kairi Sane are going to win the women's tag titles. That's basically it.
I see that in that kind of a way, but it just seems like they're putting basically the women's tag team champions as like they really don't mean anything.
Oh, no.
I don't understand. I really don't understand it, man.
I mean, I totally agree.
What do you think?
I mean, I totally agree with you that these women's tag titles, they really don't mean anything. It's the fact of, so Sasha and Bayley won the first titles, and then their first feud was with Nia Jax and Tamina that, you know, they're passable wrestlers, but it's not like Bayley and Sasha were able to go out there and have just great matches with the titles on the line to show, hey, we're going to work our butts off to make these titles seem cool. And then with the Iconics winning them so quickly within, a month and a half of the titles being a thing.
I know, right?
It's just like, oh, hopefully these are not hot potato titles because, like I said, Bayley and Sasha.
It's turning into.
Right, and Bayley and Sasha had the titles for a month and a half. Iconics, if they lose them really quickly to Asuka and Kairi
looks
Sane,
like they're going to do it.
Exactly. It's like these titles aren't going to mean anything when they're just flip-flopping back and forth.
So why did they make women's tag team champions if they're really going to not mean anything?
I think the reason they did it was to service the fans and all the women in the back that keep asking for it. They want to say that they're at the forefront of women's wrestling and the women's evolution, and this is the
women
new thing
are
we can
awesome, and yeah, they're great wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
and they are very underappreciated, and I do not understand why they keep treating them the way they do. You look on the indie scenes, and they're literally having intergender matches, and they're really good.
Oh, for sure.
And WWE doesn't want to touch that. And I understand that in, the promos and people, that are putting all this money into it. And I completely understand that. But women's wrestling is so much better than what WWE is really portraying them.
You're not wrong.
Why?
I mean, I get why.
Why are they doing it?
It's Vince McMahon. He's 72 years old. He's out of touch. He probably doesn't see the stuff that happens on the indie scenes, the great women's matches. But I understand why they don't want to do the intergender stuff. In 2019, there's a lot of men shouldn't be fighting women. Men and women shouldn't be, in the same ring together and this and that. And they're fearful that if they were to do it, sponsors may get upset and pull out and then not sponsor their company. But
we're wrestling fans.
But it's the fact of, I get the whole thing with sponsors may get upset with that. They may then pull out because they don't want to be associated with a company that lets men hit women. Because that's a big thing in 2019. Men don't lay your hands on women. So I get it. I get it. Because when you look at all these indie companies that are doing intergender wrestling, they don't have a big, hundreds of thousands of dollar sponsorships from, Mars Candy, Papa John's, KFC. They don't have these sponsors that they also have to adhere by.
No, they don't. But their matches are almost better than some of the men's matches, and that's actually becoming really bad.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've seen amazing matches between Tessa Blanchard and Brian Cage in Wrestle Circus. Those matches were great.
Oh, man, and Wrestle Circus, oh, well, Lord, don't even get me started with that. But I do have another question. Bayley came out in a dark outfit, and she kind of portrayed a heel-like-ish. I know Bayley makes a lot of money, and, being happy and lovey and everything, but she seemed a little dark tonight. What are your thoughts on that? And I think possibly Bayley turning heel would be a really good thing for her.
I mean,
what are your thoughts?
The outfit she wore tonight, we've seen her wear that before. She's had that, that attire in the past. But I mean, I don't know if this was more of a heelish Bayley opposed to a more aggressive Bayley, where I've been too happy-go-lucky. I've let people walk over me. I'm not going to take no more crap. I think that's what it's going to be. Right. She could still be a baby face, but she could be a little more aggressive, like when she slapped the microphone right out of Charlotte's hand and got right into her face. So maybe it's more of a...
And that was awesome.
Right. Maybe it's more of a, you know what? I'm going to stand up for myself, more kind of a Bayley, instead of just I'm going to be happy-go-lucky and, oops, I may win, I may lose. So I don't think it's a heel kind of thing.
I think she would do great more as a heel right now because of everything that's going on. There needs to be a shakeup, and the true shakeup that has happened, which has literally been botched over and over and over. I think it'd be really good for Bayley to turn heel and turn a new character.
I want to say thank you for the call.
Tim, you're awesome, and I appreciate everything, man.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, and hey, man, I'm going to keep calling, bro. This is JD.
All right, sounds great. Have a great night. I think, Bayley going heel, it's something we haven't seen, and so a lot of people are going to be skeptical about it. A lot of people are going to be like, I don't know if she can pull it off. I think she could pull it off. It may be hard at first to get the fans behind her as a heel. And it's just a fact of how will it all play out? Because she can do it. They can try it. But if it doesn't work, if she flounders, if she fails trying to be a heel, how will the fans receive her if she goes back to a baby face? That's the big interesting thing about it. It's like, if she tries to be a heel, if it doesn't work, and then she tries to go back to babyface, ooh, I don't know. That's the rough thing. That's the rough part. So, I mean, we'll see if that's the way they're going, but I don't see it as a Bayley heel turn, more as a more aggressive, I'm not going to take no more crap anymore kind of Bayley. I'm looking at the text line here. I got one that says, Tim, do you think it was a good timing for Kevin Owens to turn heel tonight? And will it be the same as AJ Styles turn heel? AJ's not turning heel. On Raw, they're doing babyface versus babyface, dream match everyone wants. As far as the timing, like I said earlier, I don't think this is the right time. I think this was something that would have been better with more build-up. With more of a, Kevin Owens is their friend longer. Kevin Owens is their buddy for a longer time. So, it's like, I think it happened too quickly. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me tonight. Talk to Smackdown Live tomorrow. We got the PW Unlimited Wednesday show. Nick is going to join me for that one at, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you want more PW Unlimited, you can follow us right here on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. When you hit the notification bell, make sure that you turn on all notifications. YouTube actually just put out some information letting us creators know that when you hit the bell, it puts it at a limited notification setting, so that way you're not overloaded with notifications. So if you want all of our notifications, you have to set your bell settings. There's 3 different settings. There's limited, full, and I'm subscribed, but I'm not going to get notifications. So you've got to turn on full notifications. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. You can also follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. With that, I've been Tim. This has been the Smackdown review. It's almost 9 p.m. Pacific. That means in about 12 minutes, Cobra Kai Season 2 drops. Whew! I'm going to have some fun tonight. I may not sleep. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Me and Nick, PW Unlimited Wednesday show.